Hello and thanks for watching. This video guide will introduce you to user access control for InHand's Device Manager platform. If you would like to follow along with this example, please prepare 2 in-routers or in-gateways and create an account at g.inhandnetworks.com, which is free for the first year. And before you get started, I would like to introduce you to the basic concepts of role-based access control. It allows us to group users into roles and limit what they can do based on these roles. And here we have 2 roles. One is for a service tech and the other is for a network tech. Joe and Steve are both mechanics, so we want to be able to limit what they can do. They can only monitor alarms and they can't configure any devices. But Dana is an automation tech, so we created a network tech role for her and we give her full access to the network. She has access to all the knobs and buttons. And another feature of Device Manager is groups. InHand's Device Manager allows us to put users and routers into groups and limit who has access to what devices. So Joe's electrical company has this IR600 and IR700, and we put everyone into a group with these 2 routers, and only Joe and Steve will have access to these routers, and they don't have access to anyone else's. Groups are useful for managing customer devices, both as an integrator or distributor. And now that we have an understanding of role-based access control, let's go through an example. Now to get started, open Google Chrome and navigate to g.inhandnetworks.com and log in. If you've never logged into Device Manager before, you can watch the previous Device Manager videos to become more familiar with the basic setup. Now sign in, re-enter the CAPTCHA because I took too long signing in, and now we'll click the gear symbol in the top to enter the system menu, click the roles button, and click the plus symbol in the upper right to create a new role. So now we're going to create the network tech role. If you remember what we did in our previous slides, I'll just kind of go through something similar to that. And the network tech will be able to access all the devices in the network, and we'll have full permissions over all the devices. So we're going to check all of these checkboxes and hit submit. So simple as that. And we're going to create another role called service tech. And the service tech will only be able to remote monitor and view the alarms. We don't want to give him too much power over the network because he's not really qualified to handle any of the configuration. So now that we've configured our roles, let's head over to the users button and create some users. Now our first user will be called Dana Automation. Give her an email. And you want to make sure you enter a good email in these because that's how you'll get your password. And make sure to select her role. And remember, she is a network tech. So there's Dana. And now we'll create Joe, our service tech. Enter email. And we're going to give him a role. Now what happens here is the system will automatically email Joe his password. If Joe ever loses his password, you can click the reset button here in the upper right so that you can reset his password. So now let's navigate over to the Groups section. Click Group Management and click New Groups. Remember, we can organize devices and sites into groups to limit how many devices a user can control. And we'll create a new group called Joe's Repair. Checkbox. We'll add Joe to the group. We'll add Joe's IR900 to the group, and we'll click on the Sites tab and add Joe's site to the group as well. This will allow Joe to see alarms on just his IR900. We could add other employees if they were employees of Joe's service. We could add other routers if they belong to Joe's service. So now we'll go back to Ungrouped, hit New Group again, and add Dana's automation. We'll add Dana to the group. We'll add Dana's IG601, and we'll add the site for Dana's IG601. So this covers everything about configuring user access control in Device Manager. We can test our configuration by logging in as Joe in just a short moment. So now let's test our configuration. Here you can see Joe has received an email from Device Manager with his username and password. I can just cover this password, right click it to copy, and browse to g.inhand networks. Now I paste my password in and sign in. Now we'll go to the devices section by clicking on the monitor, and we can see we only have Joe's IR900 here. We're limited to what we can do. If you look in the upper right, there is no configuration. There's no plus symbol. We can't add or change any devices. So we can see how we've limited our permissions already. And finally, we can go over to alarms. We still have access to all these alarms. We can still change how we see them. And we can still clear alarms if we would like. So I hope this video has helped you learn about InHand's role-based access control. Access control is going to be critical for managing security issues in large organizations or across large numbers of devices. And thank you for watching. Goodbye.